Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Until the prophecy of Uriah was fulfilled regarding the destruction of the temple, both the first and perhaps the second, Rabbi Akiva said this, listen. He said, I was worried that the prophecy of Zechariah will never happen.
Never happened.
Rabbi Akiva, why are you laughing when we're all crying? Why are you laughing when we're all mourning? Why are you acting like a Sunday fool when we're all mourning? And worst of all, we just saw a fox run out of the former place of the Kadosh HaKadoshim. What kind of a rabbi are you? You just saw a fox instead of the Shekhinah and the divine presence. You just saw a fox run out of the Kadosh HaKadoshim, or where the Kadosh HaKadoshim used to stand. You're a weird rabbi. Are you a shepherd of a fox, or are you a shepherd of a nation? Foxy rabbi, you? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. But here is Rabbi Akiva's response. Brethren, until the prophecy of Uriah was fulfilled, meaning calamity and destruction, I was worried that Zechariah 8:24 and boys and girls playing in the streets of Yerushalayim and dwelling in victory and nachas and the Atid Lavo and the coming millennial kingdom, I was worried that the prophecy of Zechariah would never happen. Now that the prophecy of destruction of Uriah in Micha 3:12 has come to pass, it is certain the prophecy of Zechariah will surely come to pass. You get the wisdom of Rabbi Akiva? He's saying, now that the destruction has come, I know that the scriptures prophesy and point to the end of the exile and the galut and the dawn of the messianic redemption. And so the same way that prophecy took place, the other prophecy will take place that will end the exile and bring in the messianic redemption when the temple is rebuilt and Mashiach rules, when the tabernacle of David is restored, and when Kol Yisrael is in Yerushalayim, old men, young men, women, children, we're all echad, we're all back in the streets of Yerushalayim where Yahweh wants us to be. So it is Tisha B'Av that leads to 7 weeks of comfort, because we know that though we've been going through a lot of trials personally, individually, and as a congregation, we know that Yeshua is coming, and we're going to rehearse that coming and be reminded of that coming in a few more weeks when we remember He will return, He will redeem both houses, He will end the exile, and He will set up shop in Jerusalem. And we know that the fall Moadim will be fulfilled because the earlier spring Moadim were already fulfilled, because destruction that was promised through Isaiah's son has come upon suddenly and without measure on both houses of Israel, because He has sent us to America and to Ecuador and to Brazil, and we're still loving Him, we're still returning, we're still trying, we're still searching. When you search for me, you'll find me when you search for me with all your heart, saith Yahweh. Amen. Because we're doing that, we can rest in the fact that in just a few weeks, we're going to rehearse the wonderful details of the return of Yeshua to this earth. So these 7 Shabbats between Tisha B'Av and the Moadim of the fall feast are times when we are to say to one another, Nachamu, Nachamu, Amen. Comfort, comfort, relax. Yahweh's going to end the trial. Relax. We're going to return to Torah. More of your family is going to know the truth. More of them are going to be walking in the truth. More of them are going to get out of the Sunday system. Relax. Comfort your people. How? With the fall Moadim. Truah. Yom Kippur. Chag Sukkot. Because the same one who brought Tisha B'Av upon our people will bring the full fulfillment of the fall Moadim. Amen. How do I know Yeshua is going to return? You don't if you didn't have the destruction of both houses of Israel and the destruction of Yerushalayim and the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. You would have no guarantee.
That's right. Amen.
But because unto us a child was born, because unto us a son was given, because unto us the government will be placed upon his shoulder, and because his name is called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty El, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, because of that, he that shall come will come apart from sin unto deliverance for those who look for him in Zion. Somebody give him praise. But this time he's coming apart from sin unto deliverance, meaning he's not coming to carry sin, he's coming to bring deliverance and the end of the galut and the rebuilding of the very temple, and to turn that weeping and that mourning into great joy, to turn the tears into great victory. In that day, then, in that day he will wipe away all tears, all mourning, and sorrow, and sighing shall flee away. You feel the ruach? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So Akiva was smarter than all those mourning rabbis. They were mourning, but they had limitations in their thinking. You know what gets us depressed in mourning? When we have limitations in our thinking and we don't see the whole picture. My wife left me. Really? Yeah. Was she a believer? No. What did she do for a living? She worked the streets. You mean she was a hope? Yeah. Oy vey, drink. And she left you? Rejoice. Hallelujah! Let's rejoice. Who's got the champagne? Who's got the schwitz that mans and the man that schwitzes? You mean she was an unfaithful, unsaved Shabbat breaker? And she did Santeria in the bedroom while you were sleeping? Aye, good riddance, goodbye, gesund hey. A pox on you and your foxes. May you see a fox come out of the Holy of Holies. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So what the difference between these rabbis that we see after the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash and Rabbi Akiva was able to grasp the full picture rather than part of the picture. If you could see the big picture, there wouldn't be one of us despondent, depressed, or downcast, or melancholic. Come on. Because Yahweh is working in you a far more exceeding, excellent weight of glory. Amen. Yes. No. Yahweh is that the word that we got today? That was the word of Yahweh that we got today? That's right. That the time of testing is over, that he is taking the circumstances in your life to bring things out of you and to build things in you. Amen. There's no shortcut to building fruit rather than trials and perseverance. Yeshua said, he that endures to the end, he will be delivered. Amen. Hallelujah. In other words, trials and tribulations are meant to put you face to face with your deficiencies that you and I don't even know exist. We're judgmental, we're unforgiving, we're hateful. It doesn't take much for us to get our apple cart going and to shake us up a little bit. And so Yahweh puts us right in confrontation with our wickedness and our shortcomings, and we don't like it, and we get all bent out of shape when we fail. But Yahweh says that's because you're crying and you're weeping and you're mourning because you don't see the big picture. Amen. Hello? You don't see the big picture. So what was the difference between those rabbis and the Rabbi Akiva? He realized that if there was a Uriah, there's got to be a Zechariah. And he realized that if the prophecy of Uriah came to pass, Yahweh is not a man that he should lie, or the son of man that he should repent. That he would bring to pass the restoration, regathering, rebuilding of the tabernacle of David, because if he destroyed it, that is the guarantee that he will rebuild it, and the guarantee that Yeshua is coming again is the fact that he came the first time. Kepha said, we did not conceive cunningly devised fables and make up things that we thought we saw, for we were with him on the holy mount, and we all heard the voice that came from the most excellent glory. This is my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear him. We were with him in Matthew 17 on the Mount of Transfiguration, for we have not cunningly devised fables.
All right now.
For we have a more sure word of prophecy, Shimon Kepha said.
Yes.
We were eyewitnesses when the voice came out of the most excellent glory. And he said, you do well if you take heed. For no prophecy is of any private interpretation. So Yeshayahu... So Rabbi Akiva was doing exactly what Yeshayahu was doing. He was walking by faith and not by sight. He was looking at the whole picture. In the personification of his son, what a name, I should wish that on my worst enemy. Hello, darling. I'd like you to meet my child, Hashbach Hashbach. Say what? But in the personification of your son, you will see that the plunder and the prey is coming, but also you will see that the Moshiach is coming, because what starts out as a prophecy about his son in Isaiah chapter 9 turns into a prophecy of Yahweh's son. And so, did Yeshayahu literally see Uriah the Kohen? Uriah the Kohen was dead and lived 150 years before Yeshayahu was even born. So he must be, listen guys, he must be, excuse me, brothers and sisters, he must be seeing this in the Ruach, no?
Amen.
And Rabbi Akiva was seeing in the Ruach, but the rabbis were seeing in the flesh.
Yeah.
He was seeing the total picture. And so when they understood that he was seeing what Yeshayahu saw, both the destruction, why was Zechariah a witness, guys? To witness of the fact that after Yahweh allowed the plunder and the prey, he would send the victory through his son. And once again, children and old men and young women would once again fill the streets of Jerusalem. Isaiah was able to experience both, and he called two witnesses. Listen, one witness for the destruction and one witness for the restoration. You're crying now, you're despondent now, you're weak now, you're downcast now. That is proof, and you're still serving Yahweh, and you still haven't left the faith, and you still haven't walked away. That is proof that Yahweh will give you your reward, because he says he is, your reward is coming. He is your great reward. Yahweh said through Abraham, he said, Yahweh is your shield and your exceeding great reward. If he's your shield in the time of trouble, he will be your reward at his second coming.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
If there is judgment through the prophecy of Uriah, there is a reversal of that judgment. Just like today, if there is a Mount Ebal, there is a Mount Gerizim. We read it in today's Torah portion. I'll say that again. If there's a Mount Ebal, there's also a Mount Gerizim, because one mountain is the mountain of Klalot, and one mountain is the mountain of Brachot. And if you're in the valley, you're not living on Mount Ebal, you're in the valley, between the valley, the plains of Moreh, Ilan Moreh. If you're in the valley of decision, multitudes in the valley of decision. If you endure to the end, if you stay with the weeping, if you stay with the despondency, and all that misery and all that trials and all that confusion, you're still serving Yahweh. Yahweh will make sure he takes the tears of Uriah and turns it into the victory, the millennial victory, the promised millennial victory of Zechariah. Somebody give praise in the house of Yahweh today while we're hearing his word. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. If you're in the valley today, he will take you and put you on Mount Gerizim, and there he will pronounce the blessing upon you. It's not embarrassing to be in the valley. It's embarrassing to be a shipwreck in the Emunah.
Put it in the bag.
If you're in the valley, if you're confused, if you're struggling, that means you're in the race.
Hallelujah.
You're in the game. You're in the ballpark. Are we on? Now are we going?
Wow.
We just going.
We tuned in now.
We're going.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
We're going. We're gone.
We're talking about folks, if they get shipwrecked in their faith, they're gone. But if they're not shipwrecked and you're in the game, it's okay. If there is a destruction of Uriah, there is a restoration of Zechariah. And Yahweh said to Isaiah, now take 2 witnesses. If I bring the evil, son, I am not Allah, where you can't even find the word love in the scriptures, in those so-called scriptures. Go look for the word love. You won't find it. Nowhere in the Quran can you find the word love. Now they say, well, that's not true. We find the word benevolent. Yeah, but benevolent was the most benevolent. Allah. But the word love does not appear. Can you sit down, please? You're making me nervous. Rosa, Shoshana, sit down, please. As I always have to say, I'm not picking on you. Just sit down so I don't get nervous. Are you with me?
We are.
So, if there is a Uriah, Yahweh says there'll be a Zechariah. If there are trials and troubles, then guess what? Yom Teruah is coming, and I'll remind you intensely that I'm returning.
Amen.
I will remind you intensely that all Israel will be saved. Anyone who wants redemption,
Hallelujah.
anyone who wants forgiveness,
Amen.
all Israel can be saved. That's what Yom Kippur is all about. That Israel is the only nation, listen, that is promised national salvation.
Amen. Hallelujah.
National atonement. Yom Kippur is the day of national atonement, corporate atonement. Anyone in Israel that can be saved will be saved.
We'll be saved.
Amen.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So that's how Akiva could laugh when everybody's crying. He wasn't looking at the prophecy of Uriah, he was looking at the promised victory of Zechariah.
Amen.
That's how Isaiah could put up with a name from Oy Gevalta Cholev, a name. I wouldn't even put that name on the website. What does that mean? It means plunder, destruction. What kind? Very quick. Well, I mean, what father would name their child that? But Yahweh says, Isaiah, you understand the big picture? I'm not naming your child to punish you or to punish him, but to show through him. And that's why you can't leave Zechariah out. In the spirit, I'm showing you something. What I'm showing you in the spirit is that if I'm bringing plunder, if there's a Tisha B'Av, there are also 7 weeks when you start getting comforted and getting reminded of the coming of Yeshua.
Hallelujah.
I had a good breakfast this morning.
Oh, Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So Rabbi Akiva was not crazy. He was inspired like Yeshayahu was inspired. He took a what? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Here's something for you to look up. Was Zechariah alive at the time of Yeshayahu? That'd be interesting to look up. I'm not going to answer it for you. Look it up. Well, when did Yeshayahu live? Yeshayahu lived 720. Correct? When did Zechariah live? Correct. Zechariah was a contemporary of Yirmiyahu. When did Yirmiyahu live? About the time of the Babylonian destruction, which was about what? 220 years after this. I want you to pray about that one, because I'm not going to tell you the answer. I have to look into it some more. How was Zechariah alive when he was alive in the 500 BCE, and this is taking place in 720 BCE?
There's no time.
Isn't that interesting?
No time.
In the Ruach, there apparently is no time. There is no Zechariah. Again, I gotta quit. I mean, where are we going with this?
No time.
Well, Rabbi, I want you to know that's a different Zechariah. No, because Zechariah, son of Bechariah, is the one. Read Zechariah 1:1. Go ahead, let's turn to Zechariah 1:1. Ted, look what you've done to me, brother. You've gotten me inspired. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. No, don't apologize. You did the right thing. Yeah. Woo! No, when Ted's here, I'm getting excited. Look at this. Here it is. In the 8th month, in the 2nd year of Dariawash, came the word of Yahweh to Zechariah, the son of Berechiah. Now go back to Yeshayahu 8:2. I took with me Zechariah, son of Berechiah. Same guy, but he lived 200 years after Yeshayahu. I'm beginning to believe this whole thing took place in the spirit. I'm beginning to believe this whole thing took place in the spirit.
Isaiah
Because it's the same Zechariah. And Zechariah was a contemporary of what? Haggai, Yirmiyahu, Yechezkel, but he came after Yeshayahu. I do not believe they knew each other. Now you could look into it. You could, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. But if I'm right, then this whole thing is a what? A spiritual understanding that in your child, my whole heart toward Israel will be revealed.
Come on.
Not plunder and destruction for the sake of plunder and destruction, but for the sake of restoration and the sake of healing. Does this blow you? This is a mere kavah.
Yeah.
This is a mere kavah.
That's right. And they're all on the sled together.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So Rabbi Akiva was laughing because he sees and he understands the mere kavah. If there's a destruction, there's got to be a rebuilding. If there's an elimination, there has to be a restoration. So the reason these 7 Shabbats are times of nachamu, nachamu, comfort, comfort, Yahweh is saying, during Tisha B'Av and the Moadim, I want to bring comfort to both houses of Israel. Yeshayahu, comfort, comfort my people. Not comfort my people, comfort, comfort my people.
Even after Tisha B'Av. Yeah.
So Yahweh wants both houses to be comforted. How? Prepare the way of Yahweh. So how does Yahweh want to comfort both houses? Through the coming of Yeshua. Go with me to 1 Thessalonians. Thessalonikia. 1 Thessalonikia. I feel the ruach. I feel the heat. I'm just starting to get excited. I'm interested. I'm interested in this message. I'm interested. I'm interested in this message. 1 Thessalonikia 4:16. Did you miss me? Now I could ask. I couldn't ask earlier. It would appear to be self-promoting. Now that you're fired up in the ruach, did you miss me?
I have you every day in my house, anyway.
You're stuck.
Yes.
You're in a pickle. I got Moshe on the television. Moshe in the bedroom. Moshe in the kitchen. Hey. I'm in a pickle. Okay, 1 Thessalonikia 4:16. For Yahshua himself shall descend from the Shemayim with a shout, with the voice of the chief heavenly messenger, and with the shofar and the tekiah gedolah of Yahweh. And the dead in Moshiach shall rise first. Then we who are alive and remain at his return shall be caught up together with them into the clouds to meet the Master in the air. We're not being raptured to heaven. We're just going to get some fresh air.
Yes.
Well, Rob, hey, you know my pastor don't tell me, my pastor don't tell me, my pastor. What did your pastor tell you? My pastor told me this is a rapture text. Really? Then why is the Greek word aire, where we get the Spanish word aire, where we get Buenos Aires, which doesn't mean celestial heaven, it means air. We're going to get a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
But why do we have to get caught up so we can get changed? Yahweh will not change us on this sin-cursed earth, because he will not give us holy kadosh garments on the unclean, cursed earth. So he'll lift us up, we get changed, and then we get through the kingdom. We get caught up in the air. I know, I used to read the scripture and get caught up to heaven. I used to read the scripture the same way. But it doesn't say heaven, it says air.
Air.
And we will be with the Master. So then, nachamu, nachamu, ami. What gives us the comfort? How are we supposed to biblically comfort ourselves? How did you comfort yourself how did you comfort yourself when you were in the world? You went south. And then you drove through because you were seeking and looking for southern comfort. Look at everybody smiling. They must know what I'm talking about. Me and my friend Fred Myrick's from Harlem, New York. Hey, brother, what's happening? No, everything's cool, man. What's happening? You got some comfort? You didn't have to say southern. They knew it. When we say comfort, we knew it meant comfort. Yeah, comfort. Oh, he's a real man. Real man? Yeah, he's a real man. Because he doesn't drink that Ozipple shipple. He's got a bottle of comfort. It's like in that stupid, ignorant dope trade, you know. They don't just guys, they got Panama red. Red? You don't just got, that's not just weed, that's red. Oh, get me out of this. Please, Father, get me out of this. I need a vision. Now, let's go back to Yeshayahu 8. So now, can we be honest? Can we talk? This guy would be locked up. Yeshayahu, he'd be locked up. They'd have child services coming, knocking on his door. Give me your child. What child? The one that you're going to name. Name. You're giving him names and he's not even born? You haven't had sex with the prophetess? Hello?
You don't even know the divorce.
You even have, Isaiah now, you haven't even had sex with the prophetess and you're already putting a name on him? And what a name. Take this child away. Where's government services? Help. This man is not fit for parenting. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Not to mention he's hearing voices. Yahweh says, seal the record with a guy who's dead and another guy who's not born. Now, I can't prove that. If you go